Yes, people, and welcome back to Normski TV and the match reaction. Arsenal 2, Brentford nil. Arsenal 2, Brentford nil. And yeah, Arsenal turn up in this game. We win it 2-0. And there was a number of changes that Arteta made, which, did he make too many changes? But look, we've been calling for certain players to be rested. And Saka was on the bench. Just to name a few, Eze was on the bench. He left Timber on the bench as well. Do you know what I mean? So those are like three of our sort of first team players, more or less, that were left on the bench. We got a big game coming up against Aston Villa, who evidently beat Brighton 4-3, was losing 2-0. So that is going to be an absolute tough game. Not only that, in this game, I'll just go through the actual lineups. You had Raya in goal, Ben White at right back, comes in for Timber, Mascara and Pierre Nkape, Calafori, who fantastically didn't get a yellow card, so he will not be banned for the Aston Villa game, because if he got that yellow card, it means he would have missed that Aston Villa game. Odegaard, Zubamendi, Declan Rice. It was always coming, guys. Deccas has hit the red zone. Who knew? Who knew? Who are we going to blame it on? What, is it the internationals? What we blame it on? This was always coming. We said it. Matty said it. Lee said it. Shane said it. That's the next one to go. Who's it next? Is it Timber? And this was the worry. Now, he was holding his calf, pointing to his calf. We don't know the extent of it. Mikel Arteta was asked about it in his post-match, and he said like they'll have to assess it tomorrow. And then he talked about the amount of games that we have, and that Brentford, had a shorter period of time, a bit rest. We had a shorter period of time in terms of Brentford, but this is what it is. This is why we've got this squad. Now we're left with Norgard, Moreno to actually drop into the midfielder. To be fair, today he had a good game, scored a goal, set up Saka to get the assists. And they go on, and we go on and win the game. But in terms of the lineup, again, we had Madueke up front, coming for Saka, Moreno, the IT solution. As I said, gets his goals. Martinelli on the left. Martinelli for me is Gabriel Martin. It's not Gabriel Martinelli, because this guy, again, his football IQ is just not there. It's just not there. We haven't got Trossard. We're hearing that his days away. So we'll see what happens there. Same with Saliba. In his pre-match, he was saying that Saliba will be days away. So I'm hoping that they will be available for the game coming up, the early kickoff, 12:30 away at Villa Park. So it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie, man. It's going to be absolutely tough. But in terms of the game itself, listen, we made a really fast start. Really made a fast start. We was moving the ball around really quick. Madueke was just giving, Madueke was giving their I think their was it their left back, Henry, I think it was Henry. He was giving him trouble down that side. It was literally giving trouble, and he was playing obviously on that right hand side in depth for Saka, and literally, he had a couple of chances himself, just kept running at them, which was good. He was really direct. I had a chance where he skipped past the players and hit a low shot, which was saved by Kelly, their keeper. Obviously, they had more shots at them. If you look at the stats, we had 62% possession to their 38%. We had 7 shots. They had 1. And in terms of the total amount of shots, we had 15 to their 6. So we pretty much dominated the game. And the thing is, whilst it was 1-0, say Moreno, the assists coming from Ben White, who incidentally got player of the match, and I think he was our best player this evening. He played really well, doing his overlapping runs. And yeah, he linked up with Madueke. Madueke did a nice little back flick to him as he overlapped, and he nicely. The movement of Moreno was just fantastic in that box. Mourinho's movement in the box is fantastic. He's given Arteta some headaches, because in Arteta's post match, they asked him about Moreno, and one of the things he said, which I've held on to, by having Moreno in there, it's obviously making an headache for him, and then obviously with Glock coming back, and he's talked about getting that number 9 in the summer, that he was having nightmares about it because he was thinking about Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz. So you can see that he's openly admitted that he was having nightmares about how he was going to fit Glock in there, how he's going to play the likes of Jesus, the likes of Havertz, because he has to somehow shoehorn these guys back into the side, especially Havertz, who's probably not going to be ready until the new year. So what the agenda is, and not only that, Mourinho at the moment is going to be very hard to dislodge because he's scoring goals. His movement in the box for the goal, a headed goal. It gets past Pinnock. I think it was Pinnock. He gets past Pinnock, and that's a nice lofted cross from Ben White. And we pretty much dominated the game. And apart from there was one save. I think it was in the 22nd minute from Skyder. That's what his name is. Bullet header, wasn't properly picked up. And when you saw it, you thought, wow, because it hit the bar. I thought it hit the crossbar. But when you look, they showed the replay and the reaction of David Raya to tip it onto the bar. And I think California cleared it away. That could have been an all different game, It would have been 1-1, but for that great save from Raya. And they had their, top goal scorer and second top goal scorer in the Premier League, Thiago, on the bench. And to be honest, when he come on, he didn't really offer much. Didn't really see much of the ball. And obviously he was trying to occupy the two defenders. Mosquera went off injured in the 41st minute of the game, jumped up and I think come down and either jarred his knee or jarred his ankle. Not too sure exactly what he's done. Again, Arteta said they're going to be assessing that. He didn't look too happy. You know what I mean? I think of the fact that whatever damage he's done, I'm hoping it's nothing too serious. But now that's another injury to our centre backs. I'm hoping that Saliba will be fit to start against Aston Villa. But listen, Timber came on, didn't put a foot wrong. Do you know what I mean? At right back, he was fantastic today, and he's got such a leap on him. Because the crosses that Brentford were having, and I wanted to find out how many crosses they did have, because they did have quite a few crosses, and I'm just looking here. In terms of crosses, they had, well, mind you, we had 15 crosses. They had 12 crosses. I'm just trying to see if it seemed to me that they had more corners. I'm just looking to see if they had more corners than us. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they had 8 corners to our 4. And so it was a little bit worrying. They've got some big old players in there. So they've got some tall players in there. Damsgaard, their centre back, Pinnock, they're all big players. And they've got their guy that can take some serious long throws, man. And they're like else what they call them missiles. I forgot the name of them, but literally it's like taking a corner. I mean, this guy can put them into the mix. But we pretty much dealt with it, apart from say that one time when that corner came over and Skyder hit the crossbar, which effectively was a great save from David Raya. Essentially from that, we just control the game, and you think to yourself, could this end up being a draw? Could it be they could nick us? Because last season they nicked a draw, ended up being 1-1. This season, I was thinking, please, we can't afford to draw this game with Man City on our shoulders right now. We open that gap up. And obviously the way we open that gap up again, when Moreno had to drop into midfield, and in terms of the players that came on, and obviously the injured players that had to go off. So if I look on who came on, so for let's have a look here. Get back to Arsenal. So Declan Rice came up in the 83rd minute. Obviously holding his card. Victor Gyokeres came up. I felt that Victor Gyokeres could have come on a bit earlier. I think he needs more minutes in his legs. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it might be that that Moreno keeps his place. You know what I mean? I think he might keep his place. Gabriel Martinelli came off for Eze in the 61st minute. I'd say you and Timber had to come on for Christian Mosquera in the 44th minute. And then obviously Saka came on for Noddy Madueke, who, had an okay game. Just his end product. Just need to see more in terms of end product. If he can add that goals to his games. Listen, he scored in his debut, in terms of, when I say his debut in the Champions League. So that was good to see that. He gets on the goal sheet, but he needs to do more in terms of his end product. They gave their left back problems. That left hand side, him playing on the right gave them a lot of problems. Just need to see more end products. You know what I mean? For Odegaard, I just think it was the same as Kylie Minogue spinning top. I don't know what it is about him playing through balls and holding on the ball too long, because there's certain times when guys made runs. Victor Gokkers, when he came and made a darting run, didn't play the ball. Declan Rice, I think there was one where, I think it was when, I don't know if it was when Victor Gokkers or no, it was another, I think it might have been Eze, and Declan Rice was going, what are you doing? You've got to play that ball early. And this is the thing, he holds onto the ball too long. He might look busy running about and, giving it all the jumping and everything. Yeah, but he just holds on to the ball too long. To be honest, Zubimendi, he just kept things ticking over. Didn't do anything really spectacular. So I wasn't too worried in this situation. It seems like he had a lot more time on the ball, so he didn't look pressed. Because obviously, when he gets pressed, he folds like a deck of cards. But for me, Odegaard, just wasn't doing it. Do you know what I mean? As I say, you and Timber come on and just pretty much kept that partnership between anchor pair and Mosquera, kept that really tight at the back. So, and California, I thought, had a good game as well. Great to see that he avoided the yellow card, which is fantastic. And hopefully he will be the one that starts at Villa on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. But the worrying thing is Declan Rice going off, and this guy was in the red zone. This guy cuts every blade of grass you can think of. The lawnmower, absolute lawnmower, non-stop. This man has been running the ground. You can't blame anybody else. Let's not be blaming the internationals or whatever. This guy has played when there was games that he didn't need to play in the Prague game. Certain, cups games that he didn't need in the Carabao Cup, he didn't need to play. Had him on there till 90 minutes. He came off in the 83rd minute. And I think when they said later on that he had his thing strapped up, I think one of the reporters did say that he seemed to have walked off. It looked like he walked off okay, but that Arteta was saying that, he may have walked off, but is he able to play football? That's the question. So, he's going to hear tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be able to tell us and give us some kind of idea of what the extent of the injury is, and hopefully it's nothing too dramatic. In terms of it might be a tight calf muscle, could be cramp, who knows? I just don't know. But he came off, and as I said, Moreno dropped into that midfield. So you had Moreno, Zubimendi, and Odegaard. This is what we're talking about, guys. Norgard didn't come on against his old club, and again, it's because Arteta doesn't trust him. They haven't got the legs. So when you're looking at that, who's going to be? And listen, as I said, Moreno played well. Got his goal, and for him to make that run in that midfield and lay that ball off, nice bent run from Saka. I think they were looking at to see if it was offside, but he hits it. He tries to pick it up, turns, drops the Brentford players. He kind of slipped a little bit, but managed to sort of keep himself upright. Hits the ball. Keller gets a hand to it, but the shot was too powerful, and it goes over the line. They were looking at goal line technology, but it was way over the line. So he makes it 2-0, puts the game to bed, and that he gets that goal. Let's just check the exact time when he got that goal in the 90 plus 1 minute. I mean, geez, we left that long, man. In the 90 plus 1 minute. So what I'm trying to say. So you will look at that and say, yes, it was Can you say it was a professional win? Maybe, but it's like one of those things. When it's 1-0, anything can happen. As I said, they brought on, they made a number of changes. They made a number of changes. Brentford made a number of changes, but it didn't really affect the game. And I think there was always going to be one winner. Do you know what I mean? But I think just leaving it late to just close the game out in the 91st minute. Now, obviously, come Saturday, we're going to be going to Villa Park. They've got lively players. They've got physical players in that midfield. Nano, I think, scored tonight. Ollie Watkins getting 2 goals. They came from 2-0 down against Brighton to win that game 4-3. Can they be got out? Who knows? I mean, Arteta has got a lot to sort of be considering and thinking about now, because he has to rotate. We said he has to rotate, but we knew that this December period, this Christmas period, was going to be a tricky period in terms of rotation. Now we've got Deccas with an injury, Mascara with an injury. Havertz is not going to be back until the new year. We are still waiting on news on Saliba and Trossard. Hopefully they will be fit to face Villa on Saturday at 12:30. But listen, at the end of the day, we've won the game. And I say the players that came on, the players that came on for Eze didn't really do much again. It's just like, I don't know why he doesn't. He's so casual, and he's a moments player. You know what I mean? After the Tottenham game, he has had a couple of underwhelming games, whether that's starting or coming on off the bench. And today it was the same sort of thing. Do you know what I'm going to say? Victor Gyökeres came on, didn't really get much touch of the ball, apart from a ball was played, and you saw his hold-up play. But essentially, other than that, I think he needs more minutes. Whether Arteta's going to start him on Saturday is another thing, because with Moreno doing what he's doing, it looks like he might keep him and play him up front. We have got the attacking options again. Ethan not getting a sniff, Jesus not coming in, but he's got to use these players. He's got to utilize his players. So listen, we end up 5 points clear of Man City. They're playing at home. I think they play Sunderland at home. I think that's their next game. I think. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but whoever they're playing, listen, yesterday, they were 5-1 up, and to bring it back to 5-4, it shows that they can be got at. Man City can be got at, because listen, they've conceded 6 goals in two games. Do you know what I mean? And that was a mad game at the Cottage yesterday. Absolutely crazy game at the Cottage. But look, we got to worry about ourselves. We've kept that 5-point gap. Saturday is going to be another big test. We need to pass that test. But the only thing is that Deccas, we knew it was coming. Deccas now has hit the red zone, and now is out injured. For how long that will be, we're hoping it's not too long, and that he gets the required rest, and that Arteta allows them to all recuperate rather than pushing them in training and stuff like that. So let's see what happens. But listen, it ends up with Arsenal being 2, Aston Villa, which it was Aston Villa, Brentford 0. We move to the next one. Please hit the like button, subscribe and share if you're new, and I'll see you on the next match reaction. God bless.